Upside down world got me thinking. Is there technology out there that is considered part of like the upside down world? I don't know. I kind of want to figure that out today, so stay with me here. My name is Zach. This channel is called Zach Tech, where we go over just some technology. It might just be a little bit of random things and whatnot. And we'll go from there. So the first one I want to start off talking about data brokers. Data brokers are part of the tech upside down world. They have all this information on you, detailed profiles of like who you are, and then they sell it to advertisers. They scrape your purchase history and your app usage and things like that. They just put this profile of you together. They probably know more about you than your friends know about you. It's like walking into the room and someone already knows everything about you. And that would be really freaky. It's like, hey, you're a stalker, don't do that. They know your schedule, your income, what you do, what you love. People would hate that, but that is part of technology, all these profiles about you. Data brokers are interesting, and keep an eye out. You might realize certain things. When you're on Facebook, you get specific advertisements for like, hey, this kind of fits your need. At some point you've researched this. That's technically part of data brokers. It might not be specifically data brokers. You might have looked something up and as part of your cookies, and your cookies get sold and da da da. Anyway, so the next one I want to talk about is metadata. Metadata is not the same as data brokers, while they could be connected in some way. It's more of like, when you take a picture and you look at the properties, you have this location, you took it here at this time, and you're like, that's neat to have, because if you didn't have that metadata of the photo, your photos would be all unorganized. You wouldn't specifically know when exactly you took a photo. But it's not just photos. When you touch a file, your edit history for that file or folder, your PDF, they store your usernames and things like that. I use this a lot in my job when I look over like PDFs, file, Word docs and things. I go to the info tab just to make sure it was actually modified and they weren't playing with me. Like, hey, I made that change for you. Like, did you make that change? Because your track changes are off. I have no idea. It looks exactly the same. What did you change? Anyway, that's metadata. It's the stuff behind the stuff, as simple as I could put it. The upside down version of your every file. It's very interesting, but metadata is super important. Like I said, it's not connected to data brokers, but data brokers might use metadata to gather this profile about you. So it's important that you kind of keep those two together, but they're not directly related. But yeah, that's data brokers and metadata. So the next one I want to talk to you guys about is like background processes. I would say that's a part of like the tech upside down world. I'm sure you guys have heard like that Facebook scandal that was going around years ago, where it's like, my phone battery is dying. Even to this day, your phone battery is dying, but Facebook is like running all these background processes that you have no idea. They're literally invisible gremlins inside of your phone working 24/7, and you didn't hire them to do that. Those are background processes. Your phone checks your location for like weather apps, keeps it constantly updated. Your email apps, they update their servers every few minutes. Like, those are background processes. That's everywhere. It's not just your phone, it's on your computers, things like that. Your microphone listens for specific things, like when you say, hey Siri, or you say, hey Alexa. Those are like all background processes. So they're tiny gremlins that they work 24/7, every hour of every single day, and you didn't hire them to do this task, but they're doing a task. Those are background processes. That is part of the tech underground world. So the next one I want to talk about is hidden Wi-Fi and like Bluetooth signals. That is part of the tech upside down world. It's like, if you could see radio waves, your room would look like the upside down. You know how during Stranger Things, it's like all these interconnected things, and everywhere in the upside down world that is like hidden in Bluetooth signals. Your house is full of invisible signals. Like right now, I'm walking in signals and waves and things like that, but you're not going to see them. It's like when you turn on the microwave, there's radiation, there's signals going in between, and it's heating up your food and things like that. If you live in a house that has a bunch of like smart devices, so I only have a few smart devices in this house, but if you live in a house that have tons of smart devices, you have plugs that are connected to your your router so you can go to your phone and turn off a certain light and things like that. Those are signals and they're everywhere, you know? But the next one I want to talk about, you might not realize, predictive systems. That one is it's kind of easy to explain, but also I want to give you guys a scenario. So, you know, sometimes when you wake up in the morning and your phone is like, hey, by the way, if you leave now, you'll get to work in like 15 minutes. There's like light traffic, and it's like your normal time. You kind of start waking up and moving, and it's like, how did you know I'm going to work at this specific time? How did you realize that? And it's because of what you normally do, your habits, your routine. You know, your phone picks up that information. What time you pick up your phone, what time your alarm goes off, what time you open TikTok, what time you connect to Bluetooth in your car, what times you normally listen to music and things like that. You might not put your your GPS on to go to work. You know how to get to work, but it knows exactly which route you always go, and it'll tell you, hey, if you go this route might be a little bit quicker. That is like predictive systems. It's not psychic, it's trained on who you are and the information that you do, your everyday routine. So that's pretty cool, you know. Google predicts the questions you're about to ask and things like that. Like those are predictive systems, you know. It predicts where you're going, it predicts everything that you do. Those are predictive systems. Very helpful. I will say that, you know. It is nice to know sometimes when I'm heading to go get my hair cut that, hey, there's an accident on this road. If you take this other direction, you're going to be good to go. But if you leave now, you'll make it on time. But if you leave 5 minutes later, you're not going to make it on time. Predictive systems, love that, you know. It's not magic, you know, it's just math. It's not psychic, it's just trained. That's the way to think of predictive systems. But that's pretty much all I have today to kind of talk about as far as like the hidden world or the upside down world of tech. There's a lot of information out there that you might not realize happens, and it happens every single day. And you have background processes, you have data brokers, you have metadata, predictive systems. They all kind of work together in some way or another. They are connected, but they're not directly related, you know, some way indirectly they are connected. So yeah, Stranger Things, super cool. I love it. But yeah, the upside down world of tech is interesting, you know, and I can make more about each one of these systems if you guys would like, and you can go from there. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully I can keep putting out more videos. Like I said, I'm just new at this. I just kind of chat, go with the flow, kind of see things and say, hey, that is neat. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next upload.